time at all I'm saying, his girlfriend took the gun away and threw it in the trash. Do you know what I'm saying? And so today, that question, listen, this is what they said to Merrick Garland. Okay, because Merrick Garland cannot comment on Mr. Weiss's, he's the special prosecutor that's prosecuting Hunter Biden. He can't comment on it because it's still an ongoing, thing, right? So they kept asking him. They were badgering him. They were just bullying him. They were screaming at him. They were yelling at him. It was just like the most amazingly disgusting thing. What number did you make this? I don't know. I'm going to guess this one.
I've not intruded. I've not interfered. I've not tried to find out what he knows.
It's like you're looking the other way on purpose because everybody knows this stuff's happening. And you know what? People don't pay bribes to not get something in return.
What bribe?
Right? The China initiative resulted in the convictions of a Harvard professor, of someone at Monsanto. So we were working against the Chinese. They paid the Bidens, and now you're sitting here telling me that North Korea is the big threat. I got to get to this one thing on January 6th. So did the FBI lose count of the number of paid informants on January 6th?
Let me answer your question about China.
I want you to answer this question. I only get 5 minutes. You've already sort of, I think, screwed the pooch on China. So January 6th, did you lose count of the number of federal assets? Did you lose count and order an audit?
Gentleman's time has expired.
I get an answer to the question of did they lose count?
No, let him answer the question.
The time has expired. The Attorney General can respond.
China is the most aggressive, most dangerous adversary that the United States faces, and we are doing everything within our power to rebut that, to stop that, to prevent their invasions, both kinetic, and through cyberspace. And we will continue to do that.
If someone gave that answer in your courtroom when you were a judge, you would tell them they were being non-responsive and you would direct them to answer the question.
Point of order, Your Honor.
Time is...
Badgering the witness.
Badgering the witness. Hello?
I guess I'm just wondering, Mr. Attorney General, has anyone at the department told President Biden to knock it off? With Hunter. I mean, you guys are charging Hunter Biden on some crimes, investigating him on others. You've got the president bringing Hunter Biden around to state dinners. Has anyone told him to knock it off?
Our job in the Justice Department is to pursue our cases without reference to what's happening in the outside world.
Just yes or no. Have you done that?
That is what we do.
So it's a no?
No one that I know of has spoken to the White House about the Hunter Biden case.
I'm wondering then.
Of course not.
Okay, I got it. So Hunter Biden is selling art to pay for his $15,000 a month rent in Malibu. How can you guarantee that the people buying that art aren't doing so to gain favor with the president?
Oh, my God.
Job of the Justice Department is to investigate criminal allegations.
It just went around and around and around and around and around like that. I mean, how could you guarantee me that, Jared Kushner deserved to have a security clearance, which, then a day after he leaves gets $2 billion from the Saudis?
Clear for takeoff. Randi Rhodes. RandiRhodes.com.
The Bob Cesca Show.
Bob Cesca. I think McCarthy's only going to serve one term as Speaker.
Well, yeah, because he's going to lose the House leadership regardless because we're going to take it back. But
yeah, right.
I mean, it's funny because he's making Paul Ryan look like an effective speaker.
I know. Well, Paul Ryan faced these same groups of crazies.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have ever guessed? We're following the election of 2012, and Paul Ryan's the vice presidential nominee, and we're watching this guy. I think very few of us had a sense of just how brutally insane the Republican Party was going to be within 5 years of that.
Yeah.
Just the madness that has collapsed in this country on our heads. Oh, meantime, reactions from the Senate about this impeachment inquiry nonsense. Asked if there's enough evidence to impeach Biden, Senator Shelley Moore Capito, Republican West Virginia, another member of the Senate GOP leadership team, replied, "I do not think there's enough evidence to impeach Biden." Senator Marco Rubio, Little Marco, for his part, said attempting to impeach a sitting president should generally be avoided for the interest of the country. Meantime, Representative Ken Buck, this is an actual member of the House of Representatives. He said, the time for impeachment is the time when there's enough evidence linking President Biden, if there's evidence linking President Biden, to a high crime or misdemeanor. That doesn't exist right now. Thank you, Congressman Buck. Moderate House Republicans, such as Rep. Don Bacon, Republican Nebraska, say House GOP investigators haven't found any smoking gun that would warrant voting on formal impeachment proceedings. Mitt Romney said, quote, there hasn't been any conduct which reaches the constitutional standard for impeachment. So,
Yeah.
good luck. Bob Cesca. It's the Bob Cesca Show. New episodes every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, everywhere you get your podcasts and at bobcescashow.com.
I'm Rick Smith, and this is Labor History in 2. On this day in labor history, the year was 1830. That was the day that the Reverend Richard Allen brought black leaders together at his Mother Bethel AME Church in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They met to discuss the rising white violence and discrimination toward black free residents in northern cities. 40 people answered Allen's call, representing 7 states. The delegates included many of the leading black ministers and abolitionists of the day. Those who attended risked personal harm as white mobs threatened the delegates. Due to the danger, the group met in secret starting on September 15th. Then, on this day, they began open sessions. For 5 days, the delegates considered multiple responses to the conditions black Northerners faced. They founded the American Society for Free Persons of Color for improving their conditions in the United States, for purchasing lands, and for establishment of a settlement in the province of Canada. The organization emphasized pushing for legal protections for black residents in the United States. They focused on education as a means of uplifting and improving the lives of black citizens. But delegates also supported the idea of an outlet to Canada for those black families who wanted to leave for their safety. The National Convention reconvened several times over the next 3 decades. Multiple meetings were held at the state and local levels. These meetings gave black leaders a chance to devise coordinated strategies to stand up against the increasing violence and restrictive laws of the North, and to call for an end of slavery in the South. One outcome of these meetings was the founding of labor schools to train black students in the skilled trades as a means to gain economic independence. Like what you hear? Check out more at laborhistoryin2.com.
Don't give up. Don't give up. What's true?
All things Randy at RandyRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Let me ask one last question real quick here. Who decided that David Weiss would stay on as U.S. Attorney?
Look, this had occurred before I came.
All
Mr.
about
Weiss
Hunter
had been
Biden.
Kept on. I promised the...
No, I didn't say, you can walk all through that. I said, who decided? The White House decided.
Mr. Weiss?
Right? They serve at the pleasure of the president, right?
Mr. Weiss was...
Joe Biden decided to keep David Weiss as U.S. Attorney. You weren't sworn in until March. He was told he was going to stay on in February.
Expired.
Pretty fundamental question. Who decided David Weiss was going to stay as U.S. Attorney in Delaware?
Mr. Weiss...
your time has expired.
Chairman, your time has expired.
I'm waiting for an answer now.
Oh, my God.
Well, you asked the question after your time had expired already. Point of order.
Gentleman can respond, then I'll go to Ms. Jackson-Lee.
Mr. Weiss was the special U.S. Attorney from the District of Delaware when I came on. He had been appointed by President Trump.
Right.
I promised that he would be permitted to stay on for this investigation, and that is what happened.
And that is what happened. Shocking. Shocking, I tell you, that the Attorney General of the United States did not remove a U.S. attorney in Delaware who was investigating the now president's son. Shocking, I tell you, because that is, impartial justice. I mean, this is crazy. All right, so this is madness. This is a clown show, but this is performance art. And I want you to know that that is what we were treated to today. There is no governing involved in this. There is no decision-making involved in this. There is no legislating involved in this. There is no legislative interest in Hunter Biden's late payments of his 2014-15 tax returns. There is no connection between anything. There's nothing illegal that happened as far as the president of the United States would be the subject of an investigation. And how do we know this, everybody? How do we know it? Well, we know it because Joe Biden turned over 22 years of his tax returns. 22 years. This is not a Trump situation where you have to go through, Mr. Neal at the Ways and Means Committee, and you have to hope that he is the one person that can request the president's tax returns because Donald Trump never showed his tax returns. He didn't want you to see his tax return. He did a whole dog and pony show there with some lawyers, that he got, remember that with all the folders and these are my tax returns. They're very complex and you wouldn't understand them anyway. But here she is, my attorney of record, on my tax returns. And she's going to tell you that I have filed everything I'm required, but never showed them, never did. And then it was the subject of a New York Times investigation that clearly showed that he tried to hide, the fraud that was going on inside of the Trump organization, meaning that he was overinflating the value of his properties for the purpose of insurance and underinflating the values of his properties for the purpose of taxation. Okay, he was committing tax fraud. Donald Trump was. And this went on for like 4 freaking years trying to get his tax returns. Meanwhile, you got Hunter Biden, who paid his taxes late, but paid them in 14 and 15, which means the IRS has seen them. The IRS has culled through them. The IRS decided what was owed in those tax years, and Hunter Biden paid that amount. It's over $1 million, okay? The guy went to Yale. Why are you treating him as if he's some guy that went to the DeVry School of Broadcasting or something? I mean, why are you treating him like, the best he can do is a $18 an hour job? I mean, really, he did actually go to one of the most prestigious law schools in the history of America and American law schools. He's not a moron, He is an ex-drug addict, but he's not a moron. Jesus. And Biden has turned over 22 years of tax returns, and they are pretending that they don't know this. Why are they doing it? Because it helps them with fundraising. This is all they care about. And by them, I mean the Republican Party. They have a 4-seat majority, okay? That is what they have. And they don't give a damn. They don't give a damn that without cheating, they will not be the majority party in the next 119th Congress. They don't care. You know why? Because as long as they're outrageous, they figure they can make more money, they can raise more money, they can, get people to give more when they're in the opposition, when they're in the, minority. They really do feel like if they badger the witness, if they scream and yell, if they, accuse him of doing stuff that he's not doing, just accuse him and don't even let him rebut, don't even let him defend himself, don't even let, Merrick Garland say, look, all I care about is the without partial application of law. No man is above the law. No man is below the law. I that's all I care about. It's who I am. It's what I do. I've been nonpartisan my entire freaking life. It's this body that plays politics with people like me, and I'm not even angry about it. I'm just going to keep on doing a job. And the job that you gave me was Attorney General of the United States. The guy that had it before me, he was political. I'm not. I mean, it's so unbelievable what's going on here. And if it wasn't happening 10 days before the government was going to shut down, it wouldn't be so egregious. It would just be par for the course because that's who Jordan is, and that's who, these kooks, what's his name? Van Drew, this guy from Jersey. He literally accused Merrick Garland, who is Catholic, I believe, of thinking that Catholics were terrorists and told him he was hunting Catholic. I mean, there's a whole thing going on in this country about Opus Dei, uber radical Catholic organizations like Leonard Leo and this whole Federalist Society endeavor, this whole handmaids of, praise, women of praise, this whole sect. It's a real culty portion of this particular worldwide religion that has settled in the United States of America's loftiest offices. I mean, like the Supreme Court and Leonard Leo's Federalist Society and some of the other, dark money organizations that he runs, that Leonard Leo is running. It's real creepy what's going on. Real creepy. But it seems to me like every single, disgusting dark money person was once a law clerk for Clarence Thomas. I mean, it's a repeating theme in all of this. I'm going to tell you at the top of the next hour, not this hour, because, I just want to explain to you what is going on, what you witnessed today. because none of that was above board. None of that was with any integrity or desire to get to the truth of anything. That was just fundraising. That was pure, unadulterated, give me, $27 or whatever it is they're looking for today. That's all that you saw. And Merrick Garland was beaten about the head, face, neck, breast, chest, and shoulder area like bullies do for doing a good job and remaining apolitical throughout this entire debacle that was supposed to be a hearing of the Judiciary Committee of the House of Representatives of the United States of America. I mean, it was bizarre. But at the top of the next hour, yesterday, Sheldon, my husband in heaven, Sheldon Whitehouse. This is Sheldon right here. Sheldon Whitehouse, who is determined to explain to you, he is determined to hold accountable the dark money bribers of various, important positions in our country, most focused on the United States Supreme Court. He is going to explain to you why what we're seeing just might be criminal and how it could actually end with justice being served. It's a beautiful thing, and you need to know what's really going on.
Clear for takeoff. Randi Rhodes. Randi Rhodes. Randi Rhodes. RandiRhodes.com.
This is Stephanie Miller, and here's what you missed. We've been playing your Lauren Boebert stuff, because if ever there was a story that was custom made for you.
Yeah, in my wheelhouse. Yeah. That's what I thought as soon as I saw it. I was like, oh, I got to do something with this. But I told you before we started, I made that pretty short. It was like Tuesday night when that happened to her, and I made that Wednesday morning, and all the details hadn't even come out yet. It was like even trashier than we knew, because it's like, she's got her boobs out, giving hand jobs. I don't even know what I could say.
Yeah, you could say hand jobs.
Yeah, hand jobs. Yeah, just really, really trashing it up in there.
Oh,
and
my
also,
God.
I guess that guy was that
Democrat.
guy's like a Democrat who owns a drag bar.
Yes. Yeah.
In Aspen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just like, I'm out. I can't write this.
Yeah, right. And I can't decide. Like, that definitely makes it funnier. Like, objectively, that makes it funnier. But as far as that guy goes, I kind of go back and forth on it. You know what I mean? I can't decide. I guess it depends on what his intentions were. Fully, you know what I mean? If it's like a sleeper agent type of thing, then I totally get it. If he was like actually looking for something real, I would have. Surely not. No one would do that. No one with a working brain would,
he was
would do
sleeping
that
with
Lauren
her
Boebert, right?
agent. But I think that was her latest. Like, she was blaming him being a Democrat. She said from now on she would check party affiliations before I guess
dating.
she gives someone a handy J or lets
That's
him
like her saying.
motorboat
So that's
her.
like her admitting that like Democrats get her all horned up or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just can't control myself.
I guess she's saying right.
Woke pronoun lovers. And it's like, that's weird. It's a
No
weird
more
thing to
Democrats
admit.
can motorboat her in public, I guess, is the,
Yeah, right.
the
Exactly.
new rule of decorum. I mean, it really was literally on the same day that Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted about that there's not enough decorum.
Didn't they like try to pull each other's hair out on the floor
Yes.
of the House of Representatives or whatnot? Like, I mean, she's the last person who should be talking about decorum.
Hear all this and more on the next Stephanie Miller Show.
Every woman knows the terror of sexual abuse and assault. Too many of us know the pain firsthand. Some attack us mentally. Some go beyond that. For too many, it's physical, even fatal. There's no excuse for sexual assault and abuse, unless
Say it with as
you're
much
Republican
respect as I can,
Donald Trump.
but she is not my type.
Supporting Donald Trump sends a message to every abuser,
You can do anything. Whatever you want.
every rapist,
Grab him by the pussy.
and every man who's ever used his power to hurt a woman. Because if he can do it, why shouldn't they?
Whether you're listening to Leslie Marshall each Tuesday through Friday or Brad Bannon each Monday, you can hear them from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern on the Progressive Voices Network. Here's a sample of what you'll hear.
Scott Paul. Scott is president of the Alliance for American Manufacturing. We're talking about solar. We're talking about wind. We're talking about other renewable energy, sources. And Democrats' climate laws have set off a wave of energy projects. We talked about the Inflation Reduction Act. You talked about this being in red states and people in red states not even knowing maybe, how this legislation, is taking place. But there has been a backlash that has come about. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. I mean, it's, I guess, in a couple of different ways. Obviously, and I referenced this a little bit before.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randy, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All right, everybody. It is the Free Speech TV Fall Pledge Drive, and we only have 3 more days to raise $210 total, $1,000. $210,000 is what we've been trying to raise for the past 2 weeks. So if you don't think it's crunch time, I'm here to tell you it is. It is. And if we reach our goal of $210,000, then we get to get another frontline funder to contribute another 10 to that total. And that is everything. That is everything that we would need to get through another quarter. So if you are so inclined and are comfortable donating to independent media, please do so now by calling 877-378-8669. It's right there on your screen. If you're into QR codes, there's one right there. That'll take you to freespeech.org, which is our not-for-profit website. That's why we're an org, not a com. We're not commercial. We're a not-for-profit. Free Speech TV is a 501c3, and we do not take any corporate money. We do not take any political money. And if you'd like to do it by text, please feel free to text FSTV to 44321, and we'll send you a secure link where you can make your donation. Thank you very much. Cindy in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello. I was watching the Merrick Garland, and they brought up the different facts about January 6th and the occupation and who was who and why. Well, I have Jim Jordan to ask a question. Why is it that we have to pay to have the Capitol fixed up from them peeing, breaking doors, breaking windows? Why is it our tax dollars? Why can't I sue Donald Trump and the others who were involved to have them pay for it? After all, he gets presidential money, what, $340-some $1,000 or whatever a year from being a president? Let's take that money back when he goes to jail.
Well, yeah, we'd have to find him liable or guilty of, insurrection and defrauding the United States. And then, you could probably recover money for the repairs. You probably could. I mean,
yes, I would appreciate it. Them doing stupid stuff. Have the Republicans fix your roads? No.
Have Republicans?
I'll tell you that. They're too busy doing other things.
Oh, no, they're not interested in anything that we would want from our government. In fact, the more your government disappoints, the happier they are, because they are anti-government. You understand? This is what happens when you put people who hate government in charge of governing. They destroy it.
One more thing before I have to go. I would like to tell everybody that public TV, public programs, and donating to them is a good thing. The reason why? Because when Trump was president, they were talking about dismantling this stuff and getting rid of it. So you can't hear what really on people's minds.
Oh, he will.
Only what they want you to know.
No, I want everybody to understand. And it's not just us, okay? And it's not just PBS, and it's not just public broadcasting local, like your Channel 2.
Yes, exactly.
No, it isn't just that. It's going to be all of the liberal platform. It'll be MSNBC, CNN. These journalists who are sitting there pretending that they will have jobs if Donald Trump gets a second term.
I know.
They're delusional. There will be no free press. press. I don't know why they think there would be, but the only thing that might be left is us. Me and you, okay? Because we are viewer supported, okay? But the serious stuff that goes on, with journalism, he's going to go after the majors. He's going to go after all of them.
Okay, and one more thing. This brings up the fact when Trump was running, my girlfriend asked me, "Are you going to vote for him?" I said, "No, he's a rapist. I'm not going to vote for him because I knew about him a long time ago." But the question is, to your viewers who want to vote for somebody, are you going to bring the person home to meet mom? No. Is he going to be your boss? Yes. Vote for the one you want to be your boss.
Well, that's good. That's kind of like vote for the one you want to have a beer with, but that's kind of done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so tired of it. I don't like anyone. I don't like either or. I told a girl at the Pizza Hut when she told me that when Trump was running, I said, I even have a T-shirt that says, "Vote like your vagina matters."
What do you get at the Hut?
I told her, I said, your vagina is in this question of who's going to run.
Don't say vagina anymore. Please don't say vagina. That's the vagina.
Your private part.
Yeah. No, but what do you get at the Pizza Hut? What do you order? What do you get?
I love their sticks.
The sticks. Okay. See, I'm a
They're pizzas.
Just so
they're
you know,
sticks. They're breadsticks.
Oh.
I don't know. I just love the breadsticks.
You're an Olive Garden girl. You just don't know it yet. Take care. Yeah, I like a thin crust veggie myself. That's me.
Stuffed crust is the way to go.
No. No. I mean, you talk about, need a plunger. No.
Hey, whatever it takes.
Oh, no. Oh, no. That's too much. No. Anyway. This is a clown car of a party. There is no Republican Party. You understand that? There just isn't. I don't even have to tell people not to vote for Donald Trump because everybody, it's self-answering that question, should I vote for him? Everyone knows the answer. They know exactly what it would look like. They know exactly what they would get. They would get absolutely nothing. The people who are still willing to vote for this guy, who they know is a snake oil salesman, who they know is a criminal, who they know incites violence, these are very specific cult members, and there aren't, thank God, enough of them to get him a win in a general election. There might be enough of them to get him a win as the Republican Party's nominee, but you have to understand there is no Republican Party anymore. The party of, balancing the budget, which the only Democrats did. Okay, Bill Clinton was like the only president I ever heard of who balanced the budget, and he was no Republican, even though he was kind of a corporate Democrat. I'll give you that, but he was not a Republican, okay? Not at all. So this party that's been screaming about freedom, that is taking away our rights, this party that's been screaming about, being a less government party, they are in your vagina. If I could just say that word the way that she just spews it out there. Okay? They are. They're inside of you now. They shrunk themselves small enough to get up in there to determine whether or not your pregnancy should continue or not. They are the party that wants to take away your right to vote, the Freedom Party. But even more importantly, I think they're the party that wants to take away your right to vote. They're the party that wants to take away your right to have your vote fairly counted. Donald Trump is not into having your vote fairly counted, nor is he into, like motor voter. He's not into mail-in. He's not into making it easier to vote because he knows that he can't win. He just can't. There aren't enough cult members. There aren't enough, what did we call them? Not the bamboozled, the misled, the beguiled. There aren't enough beguiled. There aren't enough confused in this country to get him the presidency again, okay? And the only reason why he wants it, because he knows he's going to jail. He knows he is if he's not the president. This is all about him. Has nothing to do with you or me. Neither does what's left of that party.
Clear for takeoff. Randi Rhodes. RandiRhodes.com.
back in session, and Republican lawmakers have been working all summer to make this year the craziest one yet. Say goodbye to boring woke books like Fahrenheit 451. In fact, just burn them. Do the horrors of slavery bum you out? The GOP has you covered. We've refreshed it with a brand new spin.
Being taken as a slave is better than being killed, no? No big deal.
Wow. Time for lunch. Oh, not for you, Jimmy. We're rolling up our sleeves and rolling back free and reduced lunch programs. What a freeloader. Go make varsity. But wait, not until the GOP double checks your genitals to make sure they match with the team. Thanks, Coach. And take an extra 20% off our already low standards with doorbuster deals on bulletproof backpacks. Now available in toddler size.
Now show me how you use your bulletproof backpack.
Come to the Republican Party and go back to school the far right way.
For 248 years, the United States Marine Corps has valiantly defended this country against foreign enemies. The Marine Corps' legendary courage, determination, and skill on the battlefield leaves our enemies in fear and our allies in awe. Marines of every race, creed, and color have sworn a sacred oath to protect our Constitution. They fought, bled, and died for this country. Today, the Marine Corps faces a domestic enemy, a small man with a big mouth, determined to destroy the Corps for his petty political agenda. Tommy Tuberville is creating a national security nightmare. Who wins from Tuberville's attack on the Marine Corps? China, ISIS, Vladimir Putin. Tommy Tuberville insults every Marine who ever served, and he puts the men and women of the Marine Corps on the line in danger. Every U.S. Marine is a patriot. Tommy Tuberville is a traitor.
Today, an indictment was unsealed.
It's here. Now, that's what I call conspiracy. Volume 3. 78 of the hottest indictment charges from your favorite superstar president. And still technically not a criminal. Like conspiracy to violate civil rights. Conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. Obstruction of an official proceeding. And conspiracy to defraud the U.S. government.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
Collaborations with hot new artists like Co-Conspirator 1.
Let's have trial by combat.
And we'll throw in his bonus lyrics booklet just released. Now, Volume 3 has the best of today's court docket topping hits and all the charges from the classified documents case, including obstructing justice, making false statements, and of course, retaining classified information.
Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers, except it is like highly confidential, secret. This is secret information. These are the papers.
Yeah.
See, as president, I could have been less.
Yeah.
Now I can't, but this is classified.
Now we have a problem.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. It's so cool.
Dozens of incriminating and for some insane reason recorded tracks, such as 34 felony counts of falsifying business records and a hush money scheme.
When it comes time for the financing, which will be...
Listen, what financing?
We'll have to pay you, so...
I'll pay the kid.
No. I got... No.
Order now and get all these hits. Or order in a few weeks and we can squeeze in a couple more from an upcoming indictment in Georgia.
I just want to find 11,780 votes.
Now, that's what I call Conspiracy, Volume 3. What's that? Volume 4? What? Oh, Volume 4. Guys, how many of these are there? Why don't I just record all the numbers, because this keeps happening. Save us some time.
Glad to have a MAGA-packed Supreme Court? Proud that they lied under oath to get the job? If so, thank a MAGA Republican. If you enjoy seeing our rights disappear one by one, thank a MAGA Republican today. The Lincoln Project is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Oh, thank God for Ted Cruz. Once again, the far right-wing U.S. Senator is saving you and me from a...
Don't give up. Don't give up. What's true?
is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
This is not conservative republicanism. This is stupidity. The idea that we're going to shut the government down when we don't control the Senate, we don't control the White House. These people can't define a win. They don't know how to take yes for an answer. It's a clown show. You keep running lunatics, you're going to be in this position.
That's Mike Lawler. He is a Republican from New York who won in a swing district because of the maps being, rigged. But he's sitting there telling you this isn't a party. This party doesn't care about governing. I mean, how in the world do you say you want to pay the bills, but you don't pay the bills? How in the world do you say you want to balance the budget by shutting the government down and costing, economic activity? How in the world do you say that you're for, a good government when you refuse to actually do anything in the realm of governing except to enter into deals, to prevent the default, right? 4 months ago, they threatened to default the United States, literally default us, not pay the bills, to make us a debtor nation, to make us a deadbeat debtor nation, really. To, lose our good credit rating. And we got close enough where actually we get warned that our credit rating is not as good as it used to be because of them. The credit agencies, they look at the United States and they say, I don't know, you got some crazy people running, and they're the majority in the House. And we don't know if you'll ever pay your bills on time. We don't know. And so we lose, we lose our AAA, perfect credit. I mean, these are disgusting people. They don't want to pay our bills. They don't want to balance a budget. They don't want to do anything in the realm of, regulation or governing or oversight or good government. Not interested. Not interested. All they're interested in is badgering people, stirring up grievances and hatred, because they know that the cure for people distrusting institutions of government is good government. They refuse to provide you with good government. It's just how they are. It's just who they are. It's just what they do. And, Lawler isn't the only one. Lawler, Chip Roy, there's a whole bunch of people, Mike McCall of Texas, all saying these people are unserious people.
This is not conservative republicanism. This is stupidity. You keep running lunatics, you're going to be in this position.
I don't know whether we'll have the votes or not, because I've got a lot of conservative friends who like to beat their chest and thump around going, oh, this isn't pure enough.
This isn't pure enough. It's all a purity test, everybody. It's all a purity test. Do I get everything I want? Oh, if I don't, well, then, screw you. We're going to shut down the government. We're not going to pay our bills. We're going to default the government. We're going to this. We're going to that. We're going to badger the Attorney General of the United States, even though we have a fentanyl problem that the Department of Justice is involved with combating, okay? I mean, it's so amazing how they bitch out of this side of their mouth about a situation, and then when the guy who actually is running the, Department of Justice shows up, instead of asking questions about fentanyl, or instead of asking questions about cartels, or whether or not Mexico's being cooperative, or what can we do to make Mexico more cooperative if you don't feel like we're getting the kind of cooperation that we would need. What about China sending the precursors for? No, everything was Hunter Biden this and Hunter Biden that and Hunter Biden and Hunter Biden and Hunter Biden and more Hunter Biden. Who the hell cares? I swear to God, if you believe in the rule of law and that justice prevails in the end in the United States, then you don't care about whether or not, Hunter Biden paid his taxes late, because he paid his taxes. It's really sick, and it's really sad, and it's really twisted. And it's just, listen, the idea that they're going to cripple consumers by stopping, the normal business of government. How does that add up in their heads? We know that when they shut down the government, we lose billions of dollars of economic activity. We do. If you can't go to a national park, you're not going to be spending money in a national park, okay? Because you can't go there. I mean, it's just so ridiculous what they do. So, do I think that they care? No. Do I think that they're doing this to fundraise? Yes. Yes, I do. I mean, Mike McCall, here's the thing with over in the Senate, you got this Tuberville dude, right? What is his? Has he ever been Has he ever been in the military? No. Does he know anything about the military? No. Has he ever been a flag officer or served his country in any other capacity except the football coach for Alabama? No. But he's pretty sure that the way that he's going to stop, I don't know, women who are raped in the military from traveling to get an abortion, which has nothing to do with military readiness. It has nothing to do with military systems. It has nothing to do with military maintenance of systems. It has nothing to do with leadership. It has nothing to do with protecting the national security of the United States. No, it's embarrassing the United States on the global stage, all right? But Tommy Tuberville, who has absolutely no experience with the military, is holding up 300 military promotions for flag officers in all the branches of the military. And you know what Chuck Schumer said he was going to have to do today? Do you understand where we are with this? Because of these recalcitrant morons who think they know better than, the Joint Chiefs of Staff about what has to happen in order to preserve military readiness in this country. They're going to have to vote one by one for these 300 people. One by one. Do you know how long that would take if we actually had to do it this way? Because usually the promotions are dealt with in a block, okay, in one big bill. People are recommended for promotions. They're reviewed. Then their names are put down for the floor confirmation, right? And Tuberville, as a single senator, can hold it all up, and that's what he's doing. So now we're forced to go back and do them one at a time, each one. That would take 100 days. You see the problem that we have? You see that? 100 days. And Mike McCall from Texas is like, I've never seen anything like this.
20 years I've served in Congress. I've never seen the rule brought down on a defense appropriations bill. You know who's enjoying this more than anybody, Caitlin, is Chairman Xi in China. He often says to the President Tsai of Taiwan, or he says it to us, democracy doesn't work. Democracy is a failure.
Yeah.
I can make a decision like that, and I am more effective than democracy. And what I worry about is we just proved him right with this vote.
I think he's a little drunk, but okay. Didn't you get that feeling? Yeah, just a feeling. I can't prove it. Don't make me. But
he was certainly no Pirro level, but yeah, he was possibly.
You mean Janine Pirro level? Yeah, that's what she's blasted on the air. I mean, I thought it was illegal to be, high or drunk on the air. I really did, but I guess you don't need a license to broadcast on cable the way that and you don't even need one for over-the-air radio either anymore. But when I started, you did. You had to be licensed. You had to go and take a test and understand how the emergency broadcast system worked and all that. Now, no, not really. So anyway, nobody who is decent, who's left in that party, even Mitt Romney has called them all out and said they are just bizarre, that they are not worthy of your respect, right? Now, where he was, when he had a chance to make a difference, I don't know. But now that he's on his way out the door, he's saying, I don't really give a damn whether I'm liked in my last 18 months as a United States Senator or not. And I'm going to tell you that these people are a bunch of wackadoodles, that Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz, they're playing you. They're playing you for stoops, okay? They think that you're morons. And they're going to talk to you that way. And they're going to defund your military. They're going to defund the Department of Justice. They're going to defund law enforcement in this country. And then when all chaos breaks out, they will say to you, see, we told you government was no good. We told you couldn't rely on government to keep your community safe or your kids educated or free from guns. No, they're going to say it was all a failure, and we need I alone can fix it, man. We need one guy who can be the unitary executive, who doesn't have to go through all the rigmarole of having to go to the House and having the House agree with the Senate and then coming up with a budget or how much the United States can spend or sending out a child tax credit, because we know that actually takes people out of poverty. Why do you think they don't want to take people out of poverty? Because the struggle is good for them. The anger that is endemic to a struggle to raise your kids, to feed your kids, to clothe your kids, to educate your kids. The anger and the grievance against your own government just escalates the harder it is for you to be an ordinary family. And that's what they're banking on. That's what they want to actually make happen. They want it to be really hard for you. Plus, on the other side, you're going to see, they also need to cheat just in case their insurance plan of making your life miserable doesn't work for them. And they're going to do it. They're trying to make gerrymandering completely legal. They're trying to undo the Voting Rights Act, the last part of it.
Clear for takeoff. Randi Rhodes. Randi Rhodes. Randi Rhodes. RandiRhodes.com.
911, what's your emergency?
America's healthcare system is broken, and people are dying.
Welcome to Code WACK, where we shine a light on America's callous healthcare system, how it hurts us, and what we can do about it. I'm your host, Brenda Gazzar. This time on Code WACK, what's the 2023 SAG-AFTRA strike about, and what's at stake for actors? Plus, what could the ongoing strike mean for their health care? To find out, we spoke to Pat Finn, a Los Angeles-based actor who's worked in Hollywood for more than 25 years. He's appeared in such shows as Seinfeld, Friends, Drew Carey, and Murphy Brown. Was there ever a time that you thought, I'm not going to make it? I'm not going to earn enough credits or do enough movies to get the health insurance?
Yeah, you get to times where you know you're about 2 months out, and then you start adding it up, and you add up your checks, or you add up you can go on your account with SAG, and you can look, or you can call and say, where am I at? And they'll be like, you're $3,300 short. And, you all of a sudden you're now, it's instead of a field goal kicker practice, you're like, oh shoot, this is an important field goal. This audition's really important. So you don't want to push it. You don't want to not change your style or what you do, but you're cognizant of it because of the importance of it. And I know friends that have not been able to get it, and they're like, yeah, I don't have insurance right now. I don't qualify. So all of a sudden they'll get something, thank goodness, or what have you. And then you get to a point where some actors are forced to get out for a little while or forever just because it's unattainable.
Get the full Code WACK story on ProgressiveVoices.com and on the PV app. Catch all our episodes by subscribing to Code WACK wherever you find your podcasts. This podcast is powered by Heal California, a nonprofit that uplifts the voices of those fighting for healthcare reform around the country. Until next time, stay healthy.
Now, the top of the hour on the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn presents the Green News Report.
And these guys have been playing us for fools. They've been playing all of us for fools.
The state of California sues major oil companies over climate damages. Another investigation shows big oil executives plotted to deceive the public, discredit climate science, and delay action. Plus, protesters demand the end of the fossil fuel era as UN General Assembly gets underway.
Good luck with that. No, seriously, good luck with that. All of those stories and more straight ahead. From BradBlog.com, I'm Brad Friedman.
And I'm Desi Doyen.
Stand by for 6 minutes of independent green news, politics, analysis, and snarky comment.
Climate change is a global issue. It calls for a coordinated global policy response, not piecemeal litigation that benefits attorneys and politicians.
Says Mike Wirth, CEO of Chevron. So you can take that to the bank. No, seriously, you can take that to the bank. This is your Green News Report. Okay, Desi Doyen, we have been tracking, warning, concerned about this for at least 2 weeks, but Hurricane Lee is finally over?
Yes. Over the weekend, Hurricane Lee finally made landfall as a post-tropical storm in Nova Scotia on Saturday, bringing heavy rain, coastal flooding, and wind damage linked to the deaths of 2 people and knocking out power to tens of thousands along the U.S. East Coast and Atlantic Canada.
Sounds like a bullet was dodged there?
Yes, it wasn't nearly as damaging as it could have been.
Good.
In other news, in a bombshell new investigation, the Wall Street Journal reveals the oil industry is still deceiving the public about climate science.
You don't say.
Previous revelations showed that Exxon and other oil majors knew as far back as the 1950s that fossil fuels caused dangerous man-made climate change and then spent millions to mislead the public about it. The Journal revealed new internal documents uncovered in a lawsuit showing that starting in 2006, after Exxon publicly conceded that fossil fuels cause global warming, their executives then plotted to muddle and downplay climate science findings to protect their profits.
Of course.
Exxon is a defendant in dozens of liability lawsuits accusing the company of deception. Over the weekend, California added another one, suing 5 of the world's biggest oil companies. California alleges that ExxonMobil, Shell, BP, ConocoPhillips, Chevron, and their lobbyists in the American Petroleum Institute knew for more than 50 years about the risks and harms of using fossil fuels and mounted a decades-long disinformation campaign to discredit climate science and deceive investors and the public, all while causing billions of dollars in damages to communities and the environment.
That's a serious matter. If California was its own country, it would be, I think, the 5th largest economy in the world. So they have some firepower to bring behind this.
Yes, they do. California's lawsuit details decades of oil industry climate disinformation and claims that the oil companies created a public nuisance, destroyed natural resources, and violated California's false advertising and product liability laws. The state is demanding the creation of a special fund for oil companies to pay for climate damages in the state. A spokesperson for Shell said the company understands the need to address climate change, but believes that the courts are not the right venue. But California's Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom wasn't buying it.
The climate crisis is, after all, fossil fuel crisis. Period. Full stop. And these guys have been playing us for fools. They've been playing all of us for fools. They continue to play us for fools. The scale and scope of what the state of California can do, we think can move the needle. It sure as hell can do this, and forgive me for being long-winded, it can illuminate their deceit. It can illuminate their deception and their lies over the course of 50, 60, 70 years. They've been lying to you.
Well, this would be interesting to find out. Who is more powerful, the 5th largest economy in the world or all the oil companies?
Also in California, state lawmakers passed 2 new transparency laws that require companies to disclose their actual greenhouse gas emissions to investors, not just direct emissions from operations, but more critically, what's called Scope 3 emissions from customers using their products, by far the lion's share of emissions, especially for the oil industry. And finally, in New York City over the weekend, a massive march kicked off the Climate Week conference alongside the annual United Nations General Assembly meeting. In the largest climate rally since the pandemic, 75,000 people took to the streets to demand world leaders end the fossil fuel era. They demanded President Biden phase out fossil fuel drilling, declare a climate emergency, and speed up the transition to clean energy.
Good. Go get them. For much more on all of these stories and the ones we couldn't get to today, check out our website at greennews.bradblog.com. Don't forget you can download our reports anytime via Pandora, TuneIn, Apple, Google, or Amazon Podcasts. Find, follow, and share us planet-wide on the Facebooks, Mastodons, and site still known as Twitter at Green News Report. I'm Brad Friedman.
And I'm Desi Doyen.
And this has been your Green News Report.
These guys have been playing us for fools. They've been playing all of us for fools.
Please help Progressive Voices support the Green News Report by stopping by bradblog.com/donate.
Mary had a little man.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America. From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream.
Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
Decades of leadership, a lifetime of experience, and rock-solid determination to rebuild America. Joe Biden's plan for America's economic comeback is working. The highest job growth in the world, inflation coming down faster than any other major nation. The prices families pay for everything from gas to groceries, falling fast. Hope and optimism coming back. His tireless work to build a stronger America means we're respected again. And a respected America is a safer America. Joe Biden's years have taught him leadership, wisdom, toughness, how to ignore the noise and focus on the people. He's a president for every American, making the hard decisions with compassion, heart, and respect. That's Joe Biden, America's president.
Oh! That is America's president. That is what we have. This man is very, very effective. I know people hate it because he's not, a liar. He's not entertaining. He's not a clown car full of, fun. He's serious. He's quiet. He gets the job done. He's not a TV personality. He doesn't have high TVQ. But the man is incredibly effective at getting bipartisan agreement to do things for you. To do things for you. Now, I got to tell you, the only way that Republicans can win anymore is by cheating. And we all know it. We all know it. That's why Donald Trump insists that he's still right, because he cheated, he got caught cheating, and he wants to do it again. We caught him cheating with the help of the Russia. This is why he's so friendly towards Russia, who invaded its neighbor, who is wanted at The Hague for, Vladimir Putin has been indicted by The Hague for war crimes. For war crimes. Which war crimes, Randy? The one where he steals your children? And he takes them to far-flung reaches of, Eastern Russia, like Siberia. And he puts them in, old Russians' homes and indoctrinates them to hate their Ukrainian parents. Yeah, that's why. This man is disgusting. That's why. Did you see Zelensky yesterday at the United Nations? It was an amazing, thing, because look, last year when Zelensky came to the United States, when he came to the House of Representatives, you remember he was hailed as a hero. He was welcomed as a hero. He brought us the flag from Bakhmut, remember, and it was all signed by the soldiers who were giving their full measure in Ukraine against Russian aggression. And everybody, the House was in Democratic hands, and he was thoroughly welcomed and appreciated and, told that we would never leave his side. He was a democracy in the middle of Europe, and we had his back for as long as it takes. And then we changed parties. And now the holdup, by the way, on the funding of the United States government is Ukrainian support. Now, we run, like a $23 trillion, I forget what the number is. It's a humongous budget, okay? The amount of dollars that the United States spends is in the trillions. And people are being told a lie that, $13 billion or $20 billion or even $80 billion is somehow coming out of your pocket and going to Ukraine for no good reason. That's just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. But they're telling you this lie because they want to support Putin. They want to support autocrats around the globe. That is what they want to support. And by them, I mean what's the remnants of the GOP, the Trump party now, the maggots. And it's really kind of disgusting. And let me tell you what Donald Trump knows. He knows that he needs every single vote in Detroit. He knows he needs every single vote in Missouri. He knows he needs every single vote in Indiana. He knows that he has failed the carrier workers. He knows he failed the Lordstown, Ohio workers. And he knows he has no prayer at all without those workers, because a good chunk of labor voted for Donald Trump in 2016 because they believed he was on their side because he lied so well about that fact. But now he's going to use you as props. Now that the UAW is actually out on strike, and now that the strikers they're not afraid. They're not afraid of anything. They understand that they have been counted on to make sacrifices year after year, ever since Bush, ever since W, right? And he crashed the economy in 2008. We bailed out the auto industry. We bailed them out. Like $182 billion bailed out the auto industry. And then on the back end told the workers, you also have to give. You also have to give up salary. And we're going to have a 2-tiered system now where you're going to get, broken down to a different salary, and that anybody coming in new isn't going to have a chance to be at your old salary or even your current salary. Everybody's going to start at like $17, $18 an hour. So now you got guys who are working union jobs in this country, in America, who have 2 jobs because a union job doesn't pay enough to not have 2 jobs. That is how broken, our country is. It's not just that, we did better when we had like 30 to 40% union membership, of all workers in this country. It's not just that we did better when pensions were a thing. It's not just that we did better when people, were making union wages even in non-union shops, because they realized that they could go to a union shop and make union wages. And so we created a competition, a competitive moment for all labor across this country. It's not just that we did better then because we had a very strong middle class. And it's not just that we're not doing as well because we only have 10% union membership now, but it's that they went after the union jobs too and said to them, you're going to need a second job. We're not going to pay you enough. And so you got people that are working round the clock now, around the clock. Now, Joe Biden is a president who said, you know what? I'm going to make sure that the pension, the insurance, the secondary insurance, the federal insurance fund for the pensions is funded. And I'm going to return the pensions back to the workers. I'm going to make sure that people who are widowed or people who are retired, who already paid in, even though after COVID, the employers, they weren't paying into the pension funds. They stopped paying, the employer side stopped, and the number of members went down. So that the pensions used to be illegal in this country, swear to God, until 2014. This is another genius thing the Republicans did to hobble unions, to hobble working people. And the idea, what's more outrageous to me is that union people actually believed Donald Trump. They actually believed his swill. I don't know how that is possible. I don't know how that happened. But okay, so Biden came in and Biden said, you know what? I'm going to make it easier for the employers to pay back in what they owe because they stopped making their employer contribution to the pensions. And I'm going to make sure that the people that are already retired who earned their pensions get their full pensions. Because in 2014, it became for the first time in the United States legal to cut the amount that the pension fund owed you. You used to not be able to do that. That used to be off limits. That used to be something you couldn't touch. But in 2014, the Republicans said, oh, no, we're going to allow the pension funds to cut the payments to the pensioners, the already retired. So Joe Biden came up with when he became president, he came up with a proposal that was embraced by the employers who had fallen behind in paying into the pension funds. And I like 35 companies, like everybody from Bimbo Bread Bakery. I love Bimbo bread. That's what you get in Central America, Bimbo. I swear to God, it's really good. It's delicious. Bimbo Integral. It's my favorite. But anyway, and Albertsons and Kroger's and all of these places, they all said, yeah, no, we want this deal. Well, why did they want the deal? Because instead of having to pay what they missed in like 10 years, we stretched it out. We gave them more time, like 15 to 20 years to pay back what they didn't pay because they said, oh, well, COVID, whatever. And we put it in the recovery bill.
Clear for takeoff. Randi Rhodes. RandiRhodes.com.
The Bob Cesca Show.
Bob Cesca. I think McCarthy's only going to serve one term as Speaker.
Well, yeah, because he's going to lose the House leadership regardless because we're going to take it back. But
yeah, right.
I mean, it's funny because he's making Paul Ryan look like an effective speaker.
I know. Well, Paul Ryan faced these same groups of crazies.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have ever guessed? We're following the election of 2012 and Paul Ryan's the vice presidential nominee and we're watching this guy. I think very few of us had a sense of just how brutally insane the Republican Party was going to be within 5 years of that. just the madness that has collapsed in this country on our heads. Oh, meantime, reactions from the Senate about this impeachment inquiry nonsense. Asked if there's enough evidence to impeach Biden, Senator Shelley Moore Capito, Republican West Virginia, another member of the Senate GOP leadership team, replied, I do not think there's enough evidence to impeach Biden. Senator Marco Rubio, Little Marco, for his part, said attempting to impeach a sitting president should generally be avoided for the interest of the country. Meantime, Representative Ken Buck, this is an actual member of the House of Representatives. He said, the time for impeachment is the time when there's enough evidence linking President Biden, if there's evidence linking President Biden, to a high crime or misdemeanor. That doesn't exist right now. Thank you, Congressman Buck. Moderate House Republicans, such as Rep. Don Bacon, Republican Nebraska, say House GOP investigators haven't found any smoking gun that would warrant voting on formal impeachment proceedings. Mitt Romney said, quote, there hasn't been any conduct which reaches the constitutional standard for impeachment. So, good luck.
Bob Cesca.
It's the Bob Cesca Show. New episodes every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, everywhere you get your podcasts, and at bobcescashow.com.
I'm Rick Smith, and this is Labor History in 2. On this day in labor history, the year was 1830. That was the day that the Reverend Richard Allen brought black leaders together at his Mother Bethel AME Church in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They met to discuss the rising white violence and discrimination toward black free residents in northern cities. 40 people answered Allen's call, representing 7 states. The delegates included many of the leading black ministers and abolitionists of the day. Those who attended risked personal harm as white mobs threatened the delegates. Due to the danger, the group met in secret starting on September 15th. Then, on this day, they began open sessions. For 5 days, the delegates considered multiple responses to the conditions black Northerners faced. They founded the American Society for Free Persons of Color for improving their conditions in the United States, for purchasing lands, and for establishment of a settlement in the province of Canada. The organization emphasized pushing for legal protections for black residents in the United States. They focused on education as a means of uplifting and improving the lives of black citizens. But delegates also supported the idea of an outlet to Canada for those black families who wanted to leave for their safety. The National Convention reconvened several times over the next 3 decades. Multiple meetings were held at the state and local levels. These meetings gave black leaders a chance to devise coordinated strategies to stand up against the increasing violence and restrictive laws of the North, and to call for an end of slavery in the South. One outcome of these meetings was the founding of labor schools to train black students in the skilled trades as a means to gain economic independence. Like what you hear? Check out more at laborhistoryin2.com.
I watched it on TV.
All things Randy at RandyRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
I think Ronald Reagan gave us a great example when federal employees decided they were going to strike. He said, "You strike, you're fired."
You strike,
Simple
you're fired?
concept to me. To the extent that we could use that once again, absolutely. The second thing I would do, though, is very important. This is probably not a well-known fact. The first thing, part of the challenge that we have today with President Biden is, and I don't mean this to be disingenuous, I mean this to be sincere. I'm not sure if the words are bought and paid for, but it's certainly, he has been leased by the unions. And I say that because the first bill he passed, y'all remember the $1.9 trillion COVID relief package? Yeah. That only had 1% for COVID vaccines? It had $86 billion, I believe, for union pensions. Because they keep making these deals. And as a result of the deal, they promise too much, deliver too little, and the taxpayers pick up the tab.
Oh my God. So that's Tim Scott, trying to tell people in Iowa that it's very bad that union pensions were falling short and that Joe Biden put into the American Rescue Package a provision that said that companies who neglected to pay into the pension fund, the fund money that they were supposed to pay into the pension funds, would have a longer period of time to make that good, to make that right. And 54 companies, including Albertsons and Bimbo Bakeries USA, and Kellogg and Kroger and Penske Truck Leasing and Roth and Sodexo and UPS, all agreed that this was a good deal for them because they got a longer time to pay what they owed into the pension funds. And that the pensioners who had already paid in their portion, were getting stiffed. They were getting their benefits reduced, which used to be illegal in this country. And now it's not illegal in this country. And so it was done to them. Widows and people who already were, retired, who had already made all their payments to their pension fund were being told, nothing for you here. Nothing at all. Move along, nothing to get, nothing to see. But we earned it. Yeah, well, all bets are off now. So Biden actually put money into the insurance carrier. It's like homeowners insurance is then insured by a secondary insurance that insures the insurance companies. Pensions too. Pensions are insured by insurance companies. And so Biden put money into the insurance company so that the insurance company could pay the pensioners the full benefit that they had earned. And it made a difference for over 1 million current and future union employees. It made a huge difference. It provided the retirement benefits that people had earned. Now, I want you to know that the money manager who runs these pensions, these multi-employer pension funds, is, and you're not going to believe this, but it is true. It's Mitch McConnell's brother-in-law. I'm not kidding. Mitch McConnell's brother-in-law is a guy named Gordon Hartigenesis, and he has 3 years left in his term as the director of PBGC, which is the Pension Guarantee Corp. It's the insurance company that insures the pension fund. This guy has no experience in government or in pension fund management, but he is a Republican donor, and he is the brother-in-law of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. And when Trump became president of the United States, he fired the Obama-appointed predecessor, a guy named Tom Reeder, in 2018, halfway through Reeder's 5-year term, and plugged into that position Mitch McConnell's brother-in-law. He's a Nepo baby, Influence peddling, but only Hunter Biden is guilty of influence peddling. I just thought I'd throw that in there. It's not that he's really screwing up the job or anything like that. It's just you should know. You should know who influence peddles, Anyway, he writes the rules, this guy, Hartigenesis. He's overseen, though, by a board of trustees, and that board of directors includes the Department of Labor, which is Marty Walsh. He's a great guy. He's a union guy. Also, the Secretary of Commerce and Treasury, who's Janet Yellen. So the employees are finally being made whole. And there's Tim Scott lying to people in Iowa, making them believe that somehow they're giving a free ride to union employees. Yeah, but it's the employers that owe the lion's share of the money. And so the law that was put into place in the American Rescue Package actually makes up for unfunded pension liabilities by lengthening the time for funding improvement, which is what it's called in the bill, or rehabilitation of pension funds by 5 years, so that the participating employers can pay down the pension plan's shortfall, the funding shortfall that they caused over 15 to 20 years instead of the current 10. And the businesses, 54 of these, companies, they love it. They think it was a great deal. They're very happy with it. But doesn't stop Tim Scott from saying, you strike, you're fired, because Reagan fired the air traffic controllers and hired the scabs. And he thinks that that's a simple proposition, that workers in this country should have absolutely no ability to, collectively bargain. They should have no ability to form, bargaining union halls. They should have no ability at all to push back on being shorted of their pension funds. And, that's how it happened. There was a committee that was organized. It included 62 local Teamster chapters, that actually caused this to happen in the American Rescue Plan, right? So it was called the National United Committee to Protect Pensions, and it was made up of retirees, retired union truckers, retired iron workers, retired musicians, retired, people, union jobs, people, steel workers. And so the National United Committee to Protect Pensions, or the NUCPP, it grew, and it became 62 local chapters, mostly in Midwestern states. Okay. They turned out regularly at town hall meetings over the years to talk to their Congress members, and they were relentless. They weren't ruthless. They were relentless. They kept on showing up, and they kept on showing up. It took them years and years and years to get this made right. And the only president that ever made it right with a majority in the House and, small little, was Joe Biden. And no member of Congress in the entire Midwest, not one single member of Congress in the entire Midwest, just name your congressman, was unaware of this cause. Every single one of them knew. The one who took up the mantle, the one who fought it, the one who made it happen is Sherrod Brown of Ohio. Grassley from Iowa, he walked out of the negotiations. He was not open to doing anything with business paying what they owed. No, he wasn't into it at all. So he walked out of the negotiations. But this actually happened when Joe Biden became president. And it's a great thing. The employers like it. The employees are thrilled.
Clear for takeoff. Randi Rhodes. RandiRhodes.com.
This is Stephanie Miller, and here's what you missed.
I'm not opposed to having Donald Trump on, but I'm opposed when you have Donald Trump on and when you don't push back with facts and hardly against his bold-faced lies. And that's exactly what Kristen Welker did. For anyone who watched that interview, I think it was an embarrassment. And perhaps the most insulting part was at the very end. She told her audience, well, if you want a fact check, go online and read the fact check yourself.
Yeah, now a warning. Under now a warning. Yeah, go. I mean, exactly, Victor. That's our point is this is what he does. In fact, it's a Gish Gallop, right? You've probably learned of this if they haven't burned your book yet. This is the Nazi technique of lying. So many lies and so quickly, you can't refute all of them, which is why it's so dangerous to give fascism a platform, right?
Yeah. Yes. And the only person who I think could have done that, is either Jon Stewart or Mehdi Hasan. Those two are so good at interviewing. And it's like Kristen Welker just let him talk over her, and she offered a couple of pushbacks, but it wasn't nearly enough for all the lies he told. And I think one of the biggest things that the media often misses when they interview Donald Trump is they cover so much to the point where you can't really do that with Trump. You have to focus on one or two things, I think, and nail him down on all of those topics. But I think what we saw yesterday was just an embarrassment.
And this is how we get to polling that shows, people think they're equally corrupt. Biden and Trump, or I haven't even mentioned Texas yet this morning. That where Republicans voted to acquit Ken Paxton, who everyone knows is a crook, but because they do not believe in the rule of law. They do not believe in democracy anymore.
And if you listen to I forgot who said this, but after the vote, you had a bunch of Republicans in Texas say, long gone is the Bush era. That they say it out loud. This is not the Republican Party that we used to know. This is a new party that embraces corruption.
Hear all this and more on the next Stephanie Miller Show.
No Labels designated Donald Trump as a problem solver in 2016. You stand by that?
He solved some problems, and he didn't solve others, just like every other politician in Washington, D.C.
For the first time ever, a president has been impeached twice.
January 6th, it was the largest crowd I've ever spoken to, and they were there proud. They were there with love in their heart. That was an unbelievable, and it was a beautiful day.
But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
A 9-member jury found that Donald Trump did sexually abuse her.
Federal indictments, plural. A grand jury here in New York City has just handed up an indictment against former President Donald Trump, making him the first former president in U.S. history to face criminal charges.
Including the unlawful retention of defense information, which is an Espionage Act charge.
Whether you're listening to Leslie Marshall each Tuesday through Friday or Brad Bannon each Monday, you can hear them from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern on the Progressive Voices Network. Here's a sample of what you'll hear.
Scott Paul. Scott is president of the Alliance for American Manufacturing. We're talking about solar. We're talking about wind. We're talking about other renewable energy, sources. And Democrats' climate laws have set off a wave of energy projects. We talked about the Inflation Reduction Act. You talked about this being a red.
Don't give up. Don't give up. What's true?
Call in, connect. To speak to Randy, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All right, everybody, it's the end of day well, now we only have Thursday and Friday left, so we only have 2 days left to get to $210,000 in the fall Free Speech TV Pledge Drive. And as our Vagina Pizza Hut lady said, it's a good thing that you support independent media because God only knows, if we ever go really south, trust me, the only place you're going to be able to get news is from people like us, okay? Because he's going to go after all of the major platforms that you rely on for your 3 same stories every single day. He is. He went after CNN with fake news. I mean, put people's lives in danger. This is just beginning. This hatred for facts, this hatred for truth it's just now start. I know we're in like the 6th or 7th year of the attacks on media, but it's a pittance of what we're going to have to stand up against come next year with the election. Oh my God, you have no idea what we're in for. But anyway, if you are willing to support Free Speech TV, please do it today. Call 1-877-378-8669. It's right there on your screen. See that brand new QR code right there that we have? That's cool. You can use your phone to do go right to freespeech.org. That's what the QR code will attach you to. Or you can text to 44321 the letters FSTV for Free Speech TV, and we'll send you a secure link. However you choose to do it, thank you very much for doing it. We appreciate it very much. We only do these fundraisers once a quarter, and now they're only 2 weeks long, and we have to raise this extraordinary amount. But we do have frontline funders that we'd like to thank for giving us these challenges. And when we meet them, they actually do fork over like large sums of cash. So thank you very much if you're a frontline funder today. Joe on Long Island.
Oh, as soon as it dries.
Hello.
Yeah.
May I help
you? The back is probably dry already.
Oh, okay. They're dry.
It's a light spray.
Oh, yeah?
Okay.
All right.
Joe, I just told you to be ready.
Joe, are you doing laundry?
No, I'm actually weeding the lawn. Listen, Randy.
Oh, weeding. Okay.
Weeding, yes.
Yeah.
I've been a union member for 42 years, the Teamsters, right?
Right.
I've been local 804 UPS driver, all right?
Yeah.
Those drivers, right, when Bush Jr. Came up with the Pension Protection Act, that he messed up all the union pensions, all right? What they had to do from that time till now was to cut the pay for the drivers. So when we get money, when they say you got a $20 raise, that $20 goes to the locals. And what they do with that $20 is we need $10 per member to go to health and welfare. We need $8 going to, and by the time you get a raise, you're lucky if you get $1. You know, so that's one thing. And the other thing I wanted to say to Matt Getz, Marjorie Greene, Laura Bobbitt, all of them, all right, that I want to give them on air a collective smack from 81 million people that voted for Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And that's it, Randy.
All right.
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. Go weed your lawn. Why are you weeding the lawn in September? It's about to turn colors.
No. I'm in Long Island. It's still green.
Oh, okay. All right. Because we're getting a cold front here in Florida. And by cold front, I mean it might be I don't know, tomorrow could be 85.
That would be awesome. And I just love, by the way, that I take
It's
Joe's,
86 now.
I pick up Joe's call just before the segment began. I said, Joe, be ready. She might take the call. And he decided now would be a great time to go weed eat my lawn.
Oh, he's probably calling us on his cell phone as he was weeding the lawn, talking to you while he was multitasking, because he's from Long Island and we can do that. All right, I want to play these clips for you, because this is another way that the Republican Party is going after our freedom. And I mean freedom, really, things that are owed to us, things that we sacrificed for. Everything from pensions to union wages, things that we literally sacrificed for. People died to get a 5-day work week. You understand that, right? People died so that we don't have child labor in this country. And the idea that people actually died to get the right to vote, whether you were women people or you were black people or you were, people who didn't own property people. People sacrificed for these freedoms. I mean, women died in backroom abortion, backroom alleyways. Literally, we died so that we could get our case heard by the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court could say women have a right to privacy in their own person, right? And all of this is being taken away from us. Now, Sheldon Whitehouse knows exactly how this is, happening. Like, who wants it this way? Because I don't think, unless you understand who wants it this way and who can afford to have it this way. Yeah, and it costs a lot of money to have it this way, because you have to buy not just the House of Representatives now, and not just half of the U.S. Senate. If not, you could buy 60 of them, but you have to buy the court, and you have to buy the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court says what the law is and what the law isn't, and we all know what that looks like. When it comes to voting, we all know what that looks like when it comes to women's rights. We all know what that looks like when that comes to, a million different things that affect you every single day. And so I want to play Sheldon Whitehouse trying to explain what this creepy movement is all about.
Let's say, Mr. President, that you're a creepy billionaire. And it is your plan to capture and control the Supreme Court, to take it over, just like 19th century robber barons would have taken over and captured the Railroad Commission that set the rates for their own railroad.
Sounds like a pitch for a 1930s black and white movie.
Let's say you sent millions of dollars, secret dollars, to the Federalist Society for it to funnel money to its employee and your operative, Leonard Leo. Let's say that Leonard Leo got his cred with you and your right-wing billionaire pals when he helped you kill the nomination to the Supreme Court of President George W. Bush's friend and White House counsel, Harriet Miers.
Oh, my God.
A political hit job from the far right against a Republican president's nominee, which produced none other than Sam Alito.
Okay, so that's just the beginning of the explanation. Okay, did you realize that George W. Bush's work wife Harriet Miers was actually wiped off the face of possibility by Leonard Leo and the Federalist Society, and they did it so that they could get Justice Alito. I had no clue that that was happening until Sheldon told me. Really, I didn't know.
Clear for takeoff. Randi Rhodes. Randi Rhodes. Randi Rhodes. RandiRhodes.com.
A somber day for the country. Former President Trump has been indicted, connected to efforts to interfere with the democratic process.
After it became public on the afternoon of January 6th that the vice president would not fraudulently alter the election results, a large and angry crowd,
including many individuals whom the defendant had deceived into believing the vice president could and might change the election results, violently attacked the Capitol and halted the proceeding. As violence ensued,
the defendant and co-conspirators exploited the disruption by redoubling efforts to levy false claims of election fraud and convince members of Congress to further delay the certification based on those claims.
We're proud of what we've done to be #1 in education freedom.
Ron DeSantis knows the importance of a good education.
But with this new bill I've signed, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Now Floridians are able to enroll at Ron DeSantis' slave trade school. Find out how easy it is to learn from home, just not your home, for a career in exciting fields such as,
being a blacksmith.
Slaves did develop skills while they were enslaved and then used those skills as blacksmiths, as in agriculture, carpentry, tailoring, painting, domestic service, transportation, in the shipping business.
They listed everything out, and if you have any questions about it, just ask the Department of Education.
or get your degree. You can major in rewritten history or generational trauma. Call now.
You should talk to them about it. I mean, I didn't do it, and I wasn't involved in it.
As kids, we learn that bullies can't help it. They pick on anyone they think is smaller, weaker. They pick on people they think won't fight back.
So you're going to give a speech, or are you going to ask a question?
And like all bullies,
I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
they keep going.
Why don't you go yourself, you tiny brain, and I hope this gets picked up.
Until they get punched in the face.
I still got hope because I know we are still here and we will never quit.
Until they see someone standing up.
This is the voice of the people.
Not breaking.
If the governor thinks he can do a better job, then he should run for state attorney, not president.
Not bending.
That's my question to you, Governor. You're the governor of the state. I'm not the governor of the state.
Not giving in.
Do you think that your tweets and your name calling are turning people off?
Because when bullies get their way, they never stop.
Except it is like highly confidential secret. This is secret information. But look at this. There was nothing to declassify. These were newspaper stories, magazine stories, and articles. I'm just saying. He wanted to attack Iran and what? These are the papers. This was done by the military, given to me. There was no document. That was a massive amount of papers and everything else talking about Iran and other things. And it may have been held up or may not, but that was not a document. I didn't have a document per se.
Trying to
Declassified.
figure out yeah.
See, as president, I could have declassified.
Yeah.
Now I can't, but this is
Yeah,
classified.
now we have a problem.
Isn't that interesting?
So when you send it, it's declassified. I declassified everything. All I know is this, everything I did was right.
excited to see members of Congress incite violence against law enforcement, enjoy armed insurrections, and the big lie? If so, thank a MAGA Republican. If you think election results should only count when Republicans win, thank a MAGA Republican today. The Lincoln Project is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Oh, thank God for Ted Cruz. Once again, the far right-wing U.S. Senator is saving you and me from a political horror that doesn't exist. This is Ted's specialty, for he seems unable to deal with the real economic and social problems that workaday people actually have. Thus, he constantly tries to divert attention from his senatorial incompetence by staging embarrassing political stunts.
Fatality. This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Okay, this doesn't sound like it's going to have a Mr. Smith goes to Washington happy ending.
Let's say you also sent millions of dollars to Leonard Leo's Judicial Crisis Network, a fictitious name front group for another front group operating out of the same hallway, on the same floor, in the same building as the Federalist Society. Let's say you sent Judicial Crisis Network secret millions of dollars. Checks as big as $15 million.
Oh, my God.
Checks as big as $17 million to run ads against Merrick Garland to help Mitch McConnell block his confirmation by the Senate. Let's say that for your millions of dollars to the Federalist Society, the Federalist Society allowed you to use its name on a list of Supreme Court nominees that you and your right-wing billionaire pals and Leonard Leo cooked up. A list that the Federalist Society never considered or approved, never an agenda item, never a vote, but a list from some back room of the Federalist Society, pulled together by Leo and the billionaires, that candidate Trump promised to follow. And let's say that when Trump kept that promise and nominated your chosen ones, you sent millions more to the Judicial Crisis Network and to Mitch McConnell's political operation. Not just to stop Merrick Garland, but to push the confirmation of your chosen ones. Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett.
I mean, it is such a plot. It is such a scheme. That's what it's called, the scheme. It's dark money that flowed not just to the House of Representatives, which we were fighting ever since Citizens United in 2010. Okay, it's been what? 2010, 13 years we've been talking to you about money in politics, corrupting politics, and making it so debased and so meaningless that you would question the value of any government. This is the libertarians' wet dream. This is the robber baron's wet dream. This is the Carnegies and the Astors and the Vanderbilt's wet dream. This is a return to the Roaring 20s, okay? And of course, all that happens is the economy crashes at the end, right? It does, because you can't have an economy that's consumer driven when people aren't making money, when people aren't being paid their fair share of wages. But they love to do this and repeat, do this and repeat, do this and repeat over and over and over because, listen, as long as you don't know your history, you can repeat. It's really sick and sad. But here's the kicker. Sheldon has figured out a way to actually say maybe all this money that they gave to get Alito instead. You realize the Supreme Court right now would have Harriet Myers, Justice Myers on it instead of Justice Alito? Do you realize that the Supreme Court would have had Justice Garland on it? We wouldn't have had this dog and pony show, this clown car, a crazy excuse for a hearing on the Department of Justice's management today. Merrick Garland would be, sitting on the Supreme Court saying, no, affirmative action is a thing. No, the Voting Rights Act is a thing. Abortion is precedent. And Casey, on top of Roe, is a precedent on precedent. Women do have rights in this country, and they have a right to privacy. Do you know how different everything would be? But we don't. We have Alito. We have Gorsuch. Instead of Myers, not that I was pro Myers. I didn't think she was worthy. I thought that the little sweater wearing PDB reading, work wife of, George. I mean, the idea that George Bush got to pick one was disgusting enough. All right. But here's what Sheldon has figured out. He has figured out that not only did they get to choose their chosen ones, okay, Gorsuch, Alito, Kavanaugh, Amy, but now that they bought them, they have to properly care and feed them because they own them. They're their pets. And he's figured out that maybe what they're doing for the proper care and feeding is illegal.
That to keep your chosen ones loyal and happy and entertained, you secretly paid for their personal lives. You paid for family tuitions. You bought family houses and let family members live rent-free. You paid for lifestyles of the rich and famous level vacations, including free travel to resorts, on private jets, travel on private yachts, and you gave them expensive gifts, and you directed money to their spouses, and of course you hung out with them. And let's say that last part, keeping them loyal and happy and entertained with all those gifts, was illegal. Illegal. Let's say that your loyalty gifts program required the chosen ones to file false federal disclosure forms and perhaps even false tax returns. Let's say that your loyalty gifts program might put you in trouble with the tax man for claiming false business expenses. How could that be? Let's say that the chosen ones were calling this bonanza of freebies personal hospitality. Personal hospitality, a term of art allowing non-disclosure under the disclosure laws. Let's say that they were all calling it personal hospitality, but you were calling the bonanza deductible business expenses of corporate yachts and jets.
Oh, my God.
Then it wouldn't all add up. That's a lot of let's say, I know, but that's about what we're looking at with the Supreme Court right now.
So just for the sake of compare and contrast, what Sheldon is explaining there is that lying on federal disclosure forms, whether they be disclosure forms that have to do with your taking money or disclosure forms, federal forms, about whether or not you're a drug addict, to get a gun, that's not allowed. That would be illegal, wouldn't it? Yeah. And also, let's say that you're not being completely transparent on your tax returns about gifts, about money that you've received. Isn't that a very Hunter Biden thing to say about Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. Isn't that a very Hunter Biden move? Except he was a crackhead. And they're Supreme Court justices. And Clarence Thomas's excuse to date about why he got it so wrong on his disclosure forms and on his tax forms was he didn't understand how to fill it out properly. He's a Supreme Court justice, and he says he couldn't figure out how to fill out the disclosure forms. Because he's lying, you see. He's lying. And the reason why Kavanaugh is there to take away your voting rights. How do I know this? I would urge you to go visit me at the Substack. The Substack's really good, okay? And you should sign up to be a free subscriber there. And I will send you the homework every single morning in your inbox. These particular facts and the articles about the unions and the pension funds and this one about the Supreme Court's dark money, those are in the homework. So you just need to go to randyrhodes@substack.com and free. Just subscribe for free. I don't charge you anything for that. And read through the dark money, the backstory of Alabama's redistricting defiance. And you will see that Brett Kavanaugh was purchased for a very specific case. And it has to do with gerrymandering. Racial gerrymanders. They're trying to make them completely legal. Cheating.
Clear for takeoff. Randi Rhodes. Randi Rhodes. Randi Rhodes. RandiRhodes.com.
911, what's your emergency?
America's healthcare system is broken, and people are dying.
Welcome to Code WACK, where we shine a light on America's callous healthcare system, how it hurts us, and what we can do about it. I'm your host, Brenda Gazzar. This time on Code WACK, what's the 2023 SAG-AFTRA strike about, and what's at stake for actors? Plus, what could the ongoing strike mean for their health care? To find out, we spoke to Pat Finn, a Los Angeles-based actor who's worked in Hollywood for more than 25 years. He's appeared in such shows as Seinfeld, Friends, Drew Carey, and Murphy Brown. Was there ever a time that you thought, I'm not going to make it? I'm not going to earn enough credits or do enough movies to get the health insurance?
Yeah, you get to times where you know you're about 2 months out, and then you start adding it up, and you add up your checks, or you add up you can go on your account with SAG, and you can look, or you can call and say, where am I at? And they'll be like, you're $3,300 short. And, you all of a sudden you're now, it's instead of a field goal kicker practice, you're like, oh shoot, this is an important field goal. This audition's really important. So you don't want to push it. You don't want to, not change your style or what you do, but you're cognizant of it because of the importance of it. And I know friends that have not been able to get it, and they're like, yeah, I don't have insurance right now. I don't qualify. So all of a sudden they'll get something, thank goodness, or what have you. And then you get to a point where some actors are forced to get out for a little while or forever just because it's unattainable.
Get the full Code WACK story on ProgressiveVoices.com and on the PV app. Catch all our episodes by subscribing to Code WACK wherever you find your podcasts. This podcast is powered by Heal California, a nonprofit that uplifts the voices of those fighting for healthcare reform around the country. Until next time, stay healthy.
Now, the top of the hour on the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn presents the Green News Report.
And these guys have been playing us for fools. They've been playing all of us for fools.
The state of California sues major oil companies over climate damages. Another investigation shows big oil executives plotted to deceive the public, discredit climate science, and delay action. Plus,